Hello everyone, welcome back to For His Namesake, and this is continuing the series of God in Our Stories, and I'm going to be reading you a true story of a part of my childhood. And the title of this story is Life in an Arab Country. I remember my time there vividly as if it were yesterday. It was 1977 and the place was Libya, Northeast Africa. My father, who worked in the oil business, was transferred there from Brazil on a work assignment that would last him 2 years. Relations between the United States and Libya at this particular time were rocky. My family, along with other expat U.S. families who moved there, were placed into assigned homes with an oil camp that was located at the edge of the Sahara Desert, bordering the Mediterranean Sea. The camp was made up of several neighborhoods, all within walking distance to a pristine beach nearby. Already from the beginning, I was very intrigued with my new surroundings. When I stepped outside from my home into the backyard, instead of a green lawn, I saw sandy terrain that had an abundance of fossils and shells. Gleefully, I gathered a few and showed them to my mother. I was told that these were once living creatures from when the Great Flood occurred thousands of years ago. I was told that because God was angry at the people at the time, he decided to cover the whole world with the Great Flood, but that only one family, that of Noah's, would survive. Noah was to build an ark, and when completed, to take along his family and 2 of each living creatures on board the ark. Everyone and everything other than Noah and his family and the animals on the ark had been wiped out. When I heard that story that day, I was in awe of this powerful God. Shortly after my discovery of the fossils in my backyard, I heard an excited knock on the front door to my house. My mother, who answered the door, came to say that a local Arab girl was eager to make a new friend. Nadia was the girl's name, and beside her stood a young boy, her brother. His name was Tamir, who was anxious to make a new friend too. Soon my younger brother and I went to play with our new friends out in the street in front of the house. Here the 4 of us would play hopscotch, hide and seek, and other fun kid games for hours each day when we were not in school. Another favorite pastime that my brother and my friends and I enjoyed doing was sliding down sand dunes at the nearby beach, and then cooling off by swimming in the Mediterranean Sea. Oh, what fun we children had there! Splashing around near the shore, riding the waves on rubber floats, and playing Marco Polo were some of the fun things that I remember doing. On the beach, we made big sand castles, played frisbee, collected beautiful seashells, which later had to be left on the beach according to the law, and we also sat and watched dolphins in the distance jump in and out of the water. One very favorite activity that my brother and I especially loved was swimming far out into deeper waters by guiding ourselves along a rope that was attached to a sturdy metal pole on the beach. The other end of the rope was attached to a large wooden raft. On the raft, kids and adults would jump from the raft into the sea or just sit and enjoy relaxing and gaze out into the vast sea. Some adults sunbathed there. I just enjoyed being there in deeper waters. It's a good thing that I was taught how to swim at a young age. But still, as the sea is very powerful and unpredictable, I never let go of that rope. Looking back on my time in Libya, I recall some not so nice situations while living there. For one, as mentioned earlier, shells and fossils off the beach or in our backyard were not permitted to be taken as souvenirs. In fact, at any time that expats left the country, their suitcases and carry-on luggage would be thoroughly examined to be sure no one was smuggling anything out that was solely the original property of that country. Another law to follow here was that there was to be no public photography allowed, and this was way before cell phones. The Mediterranean Sea was so beautiful, and it was truly a shame that no one could take pictures of it, nor of ourselves with the sea in the background. We couldn't even have photos of dolphins for a memory keepsake. Although I thoroughly enjoyed my time spent at the beach there, if a sand blizzard came, that was not fun at all. The strong wind would blow the Sahara Desert sands so hard that it felt like cuts going across our faces, or like pins darting onto our arms. It was best to seek shelter immediately if possible. An interesting fact about living in this Arab country was because it was Muslim, all the expat families needed to adhere to certain religious traditions. For instance, every day, several times a day, we could hear the prayer calls blaring out of a loudspeaker from the local mosque. Fridays were the holy day, and there was to be no work nor school that day. Saturday was a day for leisure, while Sundays began the work and school week. Now, on to more wonderful memories that I have from when I lived in Libya. My family and I looked forward to each Saturday morning. This is when we drove in my father's work car to an outdoor bread kitchen. The road we took was sand-covered mostly, and there were always goats and sheep walking on either side of the street in perfect lines. We purposely rolled down our windows so that we could get a better look at the sheep and goats. We also wanted to be able to inhale deeply the lovely aroma of that scratch-made bread in the distance. The bread was baked in wood-fired clay ovens. Standing by these ovens stood Arabian men, wearing the traditional long white robes called kanduras. The men's heads were covered with the traditional head coverings called shimags. These men used long flat wooden paddles to remove the bread from the ovens. I remember the bread as a long oval shaped that had a crispy outer light brown crust and was soft and white on the inside. My parents always bought 2 loaves of bread, one to eat on the road back to our home and one to keep for later. On the way back to our house, we would each pull apart pieces from the loaf to eat. This bread was so delicious. Lastly, but certainly not least, another fond memory I have while living in Libya was when our family drove nearly 3 hours to Benghazi, which is Libya's second largest city. This city was known for its outdoor markets that sold anything from clothes for the whole family to handcrafted souvenirs to kites and an abundance of toys. There were also vendors selling jewelry and household items such as lamps, vases, and baskets. And my favorite was browsing through all the tables that sold foods of various kinds. Many times, my family and I got to try samples of the savory Arabian cuisine. As one can see, I have mostly fond memories of living in this unique country in northeastern Africa. If given the opportunity and when it is safe to do so, I wouldn't mind returning specifically to the beach and to the Mediterranean Sea, where I made many memories with my brother and our friends Nadia and Tamir. Although I was not yet a saved Christian while living there as a child, I talked to God all the time. I knew He was right there in the midst of a Muslim country. He made Himself known to me in His beautiful handiwork and through His provisions for my family and I, as well as Him watching over us at all times. I hope you have enjoyed this story, a glimpse of a part of my childhood in Libya. If you would like to submit a true story of your own, you may do so by sending it to our channel email, which is forhisnamesake106@gmail.com. God bless you.